So let's talk about something the financial world doesn't really prepare you for. What really happens to your life, your money, and even your mind the moment you make that final mortgage payment? Because, it's not just about losing a bill, it's about everything you gain.
You know the feeling. It's late, maybe 11 p.m. on a Sunday. You're not solving some global crisis. Nope, you're just running the same numbers you ran last week. Mortgage, car payment, groceries, just trying to figure out if this is the month you finally get ahead. It's a routine for millions of us.
And deep down, you kind of know the answer, but you run the math anyway. Because the alternative is to just accept that this constant, low-grade financial pressure is normal. But what if it isn't? What if it doesn't have to be?
To really get this, let's meet a hypothetical couple we'll call the Garcias. They're a dual-income family making what sounds like a really solid $110,000 a year. But their story shows how a mortgage can quietly shape every single aspect of your life, creating this sort of cage with invisible bars.
Okay, let's follow the money here. After taxes and a little bit for the 401k, they bring home about $6,800. Seems pretty good, right? Well, watch how fast it evaporates. Housing is the monster, taking a huge $3,300 chunk. Then you've got cars, student loans, health insurance, food, utilities, and poof. Just like that, they're down to a razor-thin $130. I mean, that's barely enough for one flat tire, let alone any savings or, fun.
Look, the Garcias aren't bad with money. They did everything they were supposed to do. But living on that thin a margin means every single conversation about their careers, about their future, about taking even a small risk, it all gets filtered through one powerful unspoken question.
This question. It's like a piece of software running in the background of their minds that they can never, ever close. It limits their options, it tethers them to jobs they might not even like, and it keeps them from taking a leap, all to make sure that one massive payment gets made every single month. And that's really the heart of it, isn't it? After a few years, you stop seeing the mortgage as just a bill. It becomes this fundamental constraint on your freedom. You just get so used to the bars that you forget you're even in a cage. And that feeling of being trapped, it's not just a metaphor, it's a measurable, psychological reality. See, the cost of long-term debt isn't just about the interest payments. There's actual peer-reviewed research showing it has a real, tangible impact on our minds and even our bodies. Check this out. This is from a 2019 study. When people's debts were completely wiped out, the number of participants showing symptoms of clinical anxiety plummeted by 25 percentage points. That is a huge improvement in mental well-being just from getting rid of the debt. And it goes even deeper. The research shows that carrying debt literally impairs your cognitive function. It can make you more impulsive, and it's directly correlated with higher blood pressure and depression. This isn't just in your head. That mortgage is a physical burden your body's been carrying for years.
And this theory just nails why paying it off feels so amazing. The study found that closing a small account actually gave people more psychological relief than making a bigger payment on a large loan. Your brain doesn't just see the dollars, it sees an open tab that needs to be closed. And for most of us, the mortgage is the final, biggest tab we have open.
So once you close that final tab, you get a powerful key that unlocks a whole new financial future. It's all about that freed up cash flow and what you can do with it.
Now, here's a really important point. When your mortgage payment disappears, you don't get the full amount back. You still have property taxes, you still have homeowner's insurance, and you definitely still have maintenance. For most people, this frees up about $2,000 a month in actual usable money, which, as you're about to see, is an absolutely life-changing amount.
Okay, so let's watch what happens when you start investing that $2,000 a month. In a simple S&P 500 index fund, assuming an average 8% return, the results are, well, they're incredible. In just 10 years, you're looking at over $365,000. And if you keep that going for 20 years, you could be sitting on over $1 million.
But here's the part that will blow your mind. Over this 20 years, you put in $480,000 of your own money. The market, it added nearly $700,000 all by itself. This is the massive opportunity cost of a 30-year mortgage that the bank, conveniently forgets to mention when you're signing all that paperwork. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Spreadsheet gurus will say you're better off investing extra cash instead of prepaying a low-interest mortgage. And you know what? On paper, they might be right. But the spreadsheet doesn't account for being human. It assumes you'll actually invest that money every month and won't panic sell in a downturn. Paying off the house, that's a guaranteed win that eliminates risk and frees your mind.
So what does this freedom actually look like in the real world? Let's check back in with the Garcias. Let's imagine they worked hard and paid off their house early, say in year 22 instead of year 30.
All of a sudden, Mrs. Garcia can take that job at the nonprofit that she's passionate about, even if it pays a little less. Mr. Garcia can finally start that contracting business he's been dreaming about, because one bad quarter no longer means they might lose their home. Their income is the exact same, but the decisions they can make are on a whole different level.
This is what being free really means. The source material puts it perfectly. The mortgage is like a 30-year employment contract you didn't even realize you signed. It financially locks you in, demanding a certain level of income just to keep your life stable. Paying it off is like tearing up that contract.
And when that amazing day finally comes for you, here's the 3-step playbook. First, the boring but super important part. Make sure your lender filed the lien release. Second, build your emergency fund back up to a comfortable level. And finally, deploy that old mortgage payment into your investments and just let compound interest work its magic.
So the big takeaway here is this: true freedom isn't about suddenly being rich, it's about having agency over your own life. It's when that invisible hand of the mortgage finally releases its grip, and you can make choices based not on what the bank requires, but on what you actually want.
That late-night math problem, it won't last forever. The folks who get to stop doing that math the earliest are the ones who understand what that finish line is truly worth. So the only question left is, when your finish line comes, what's the first decision you're going to make?